Hello, my lovelies. Welcome to another episode of Oh My Lloyd, Math with Miss Lloyd. Today, I am going to go over my steps for completing the square. So my steps are for if you do not have a leading coefficient other than a 1. So here in front of my x squared, there's nothing there, so we can assume we have a 1 in front. So I'm going to give you a few steps on how to do this completing the square. So the reason why we do completing the square in the first place is because the equation isn't something that we can factor. So in my classroom, we use M and A. So we would be trying to multiply, find two numbers that multiply to give us negative 11 and add to give us that middle term positive 6. The only thing that multiplies to give me any kind of 11 is a 1 and 11. It's a prime number. And looking at this, there's no way that 11 and 1 can add to give me 6. So I know there's no possible way to factor this. So I want to kind of turn this into something that I can factor though. And so this is where the square part comes from. So I'm trying to create, at least on the left side, something that I can turn into x plus or minus some quantity squared. So I want to figure out what that magical number is that I can create two factors that are exactly the same. So my first step is to get rid of this negative 11. It's not working out for me. It's not working well with a 6, so I'm just going to move them to the other side. So now I would have my x squared. Totally using the wrong size pen. My x squared plus my 6x. And I'm going to create a little bit of a space because I'm going to fill it with something that actually does work with my 6. So in order to find something that works with my 6, so again, I'm trying to create the perfect factor. I'm trying to figure out x plus or minus something that when I multiply it together, I end up with this x squared plus 6 plus something else, and that these factors are exactly the same. So I need the same thing that adds to get 6, and the only thing that I can think of that is the same thing that adds to get 6 is positive 3. So I'm adding to get that 6. I also need to multiply to get this other number. So if I have 3, I would be multiplying and I would end up with a 9. Another way to do that mathematically, so say I don't have a 6, it's something that's kind of gross. We're just taking whatever that middle term is, dividing by 2, and squaring it. And that's going to give us whatever the very perfect number is that I need in order to make this into a perfect square whenever I factor. Also, whenever I add something to one side, I've created an imbalance in the equation. So we're a bit heavier on the left side than we were to begin with. So I want to make sure that I balance out this equation by also adding that 9 to the other side. So bilancia, one of my students taught me, it's Italian for balance. I also am supposed to make it either male or female, so masculine or feminine. But I feel like either way, if someone tells me that a quadratic equation is male or female, I'm not going to be happy with either answer, so we're just going to move on from there. So now I've got x squared plus 6x plus 9 equal to 20. So from here, I'm going to factor this left side. So multiplying to get positive 9, adding to get positive 6. And I know that's going to be x plus 3 and another x plus 3. So 3 times 3 will give me 9. 3 plus 3 will give me 6. Also, mathematicians are a little bit lazy. I can say that because I am one. And so most often we will write this as x plus 3 quantity squared. Because we have two of them. Why write it twice when you can just say squared? From here, we're going to try to eliminate everything and solve for my now one variable that I have. So in order to start getting inside to get to the variable to solve, I first need to get rid of my square. So in order to undo the square, we're going to take the square root. I'm going to scroll up a little bit. So that will eliminate my square by doing the inverse. And now I have a square root of 20. And again, because I took the square root, I'm going to have plus minus. I have two answers here, either a positive or a negative that gave me this 20. Also, I don't know the square root of 20 without getting a decimal. I can reduce it a little bit though. So 20, I know I can take a 4 out of. You're left with a 5. And so the square root of 4 I know is 2. We don't know the square root of 5, so that would stay inside. So 2 square root 5. My last thing that I need to get rid of that's with my x that I don't want there is my 3. So I'll subtract it over. I cannot add or subtract a 3 with a 2 square root 5. They aren't like terms because of that square root 5, that radical. So my final answer, if I don't want to worry about decimals, is going to be negative 3 plus or minus 2 square root 5. And this is why we couldn't factor it, because that is indeed very gross. But it is our final solution. So if you have any questions, be sure to leave them below in a comment. Like and share this video if you have a friend who this may help. Be sure to subscribe to my channel to see very more lovely videos just like this. If you ever have a question that you would like answered, just leave it in a comment and I will make a video just for you. You have a wonderful rest of your day.